Biden returns to the world stage today, leaving for the G7 summit in Italy in about 2 hours from now.
But here at home, a group of ISIS-linked terror suspects were just arrested in 3 of America's biggest cities after walking right into our country across our southern border. Lucas Tomlinson is live with the breaking details. Lucas, what do we know?
Well, good morning, Carly and Todd. Not only did those 8 terror suspects enter the United States illegally through the southern border, they apparently received, quote, full vetting, according to our own Bill Malushin. The suspects are from Tajikistan, the landlocked country in Central Asia. It borders Afghanistan to the south and China to the east. Recall the main suspects in the terrorist attack on the concert hall in Moscow that killed 145 people back in March were also from Tajikistan. The FBI and DHS said in a statement to Fox, quote, the individuals arrested are detained in ICE custody pending removal proceedings. As the FBI and DHS have recently described in public and partner bulletins, the U.S. has been in a heightened threat environment. The FBI and DHS will continue working around the clock with our partners to identify, investigate, and disrupt potential threats to national security. The suspected terrorists were arrested in Los Angeles and across the country in New York and Philadelphia in recent days. According to the New York Post, who broke the story, quote, part of the investigation featured a wiretap which revealed one of the now arrested individuals was talking about bombs. Remember the Boston Marathon bombing? I'm afraid something like that might happen again or worse. Now, FBI Director Christopher Wray warned lawmakers back in April about what he described as the increased threat of a, quote, coordinated attack inside the U.S. after the Moscow massacre. And, of course, again, remember the suspects in that attack were also from Tajikistan, guys.
All right, Lucas Tomlinson live for us. Lucas, thank you. Let's bring in former Trump National Security aide John Ullyot to talk about this very concerning story. And, John, one of the most concerning things about this is that these 8 people who were just arrested, they weren't gotaways. They received full vetting by CBP. Nothing was flagged, so they were welcomed into our country. Given the millions of other people who were treated the very same way, where does that leave us?
Well, you're absolutely right, Carly. It's a disaster here. One of these 8 actually used the app. They have an app with your phone where you can actually go in and get pre-vetted. And so we're now having terrorists use the app to get into our country. And so, look, this is something where it's absolutely, this is an open border and the terrorists know it. And so whether it's the ISIS-K guys terrorists who went after just a couple months ago in Moscow and killed over 100 people who are there in Moscow. This is a similar thing could happen right now. And then just look at the White House right now. There was over the weekend, Carly, what there was in front of the White House is you had people putting all sorts of just defacing one of the statues, throwing bricks at the park police that were there. And so, look, this is something that not a single person got arrested there. So we've got people who can come that close to the White House, and now we have known terrorists. Just since Biden's been in office, Carly, what you've had is 320 known terrorists have come in there and been stopped at the border. And that's just the ones that we've stopped. Look, if you're using the app and you're coming in and you're a terrorist, then guess how many that we have that are just going right around the ICE protection that we have now, the Customs Border Protection. It's an absolute disgrace.
Yeah, I fear it's just a matter of time before our intel services, which do an amazing job, by the way, not discrediting them, but they fail to catch one of these terror cells before it's too late. And that was a sentiment that the FBI director expressed some fear about when he testified a few weeks ago. Listen.
We've seen the threat from foreign terrorists rise to a whole nother level. On top of that, increasingly concerning is the potential for a coordinated attack here in the homeland, not unlike the ISIS-K attack we saw at the Russia concert hall back in March.
John, if Trump is elected, is there anything he can do to potentially substantially eliminate as much of this threat as possible? Or, John, is it just too late?
No, it's not too late at all, because President Trump has said that we're going to deport everybody once he gets in office. He said that we're going to start with the criminals, but that we're going to put everybody who's come in here illegally under Biden and earlier, the trickle that was there compared to the wave that's going on right now. But he is going to deport these terrorists. He's going to find where they are. And what President Trump has said is that the police know where these guys are. And with the intelligence, you're absolutely right that the intel resources that we have, kudos to the FBI for finding these guys. And it was a wiretap reportedly that found them. So good on them. And so what President Trump will do, number one, he'll close the border so they won't get in. And those who are here, he's going to make sure that they are deported right away, or actually that they're arrested and that they're prosecuted and then possibly deported after that. But we need these guys in jail is what we need.
Without question. And there's also everything that's going on in Afghanistan right now. ISIS-K has been on the rise in Afghanistan since our withdrawal. And now that we're not there, we have to use this over-the-horizon approach. Given how catastrophic our withdrawal was and the loss of life that took place, it doesn't seem like sending troops back now is on the table. But given the fact that terror organizations are on the rise there, would it be safer for us here at home if we did have a presence there?
Well, you're absolutely right, Carly. What we did there under Biden is that we gave up Bagram Air Force Base. When I was at the National Security Council supporting President Trump, he had the withdrawal from Afghanistan for the U.S. forces on a glide path where we would keep Bagram. And now you know who's controlling Bagram is the Chinese. And so you're absolutely right that we need a greater capability to go after ISIS. We still have over-the-horizon capability, but had Biden not given away Bagram, it would have been we would have been much safer and could have attacked ISIS-K right where they are, and they would be on the run and not plotting attacks by coming through our southern border.
Meantime, John, in just a couple of hours, President Biden will be headed to Italy for the G7 summit as an Israel-Hamas ceasefire deal, as well as China, Russia, Ukraine. All these major foreign policy issues loom large. What deliverables must Biden walk away with in order for this G7 to be considered a success, John?
Well, what's happening here, I know one thing's for certain, is that after what happened yesterday with Hunter Biden, he's not going to be giving the leaders parenting tips, and he's also not going to be giving them any talk on gun control. So look, what he is going to do is he's going in there, and these are all globalists who are very afraid of President Trump coming in. I think Laura's program last night talked about exactly how so many of these leaders are worried about what's happened in terms of more centrist forces that are coming in, more right-wing forces that are, or just right-of-center voices that are coming in. So what he has to do is he has to push back on them, and he has to show that somehow he's able to make it across the finish line, because they're ready to bail on him right now, and they're asking for more money for Ukraine, but they're ready to bail on him. And you know what they're telling him, Todd, is they're telling him that hate to break it to you, Biden, but they're looking at the polls that he's looking at, and they say there's a steep discount right now on Hunter Biden's art from anybody who wants influence from their countries.
Yeah. And Israeli media is also reporting that Hamas just rejected key parts of the U.S. ceasefire deal. So back to the drawing board on that one as well. John, thank you so much for joining us.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.